Welcome to the Foundry by Forge College. Man, I am thrilled to have you here for this explainer today because we are tackling a massive absolute milestone in the Solidity and Ethereum Quests track. We're diving right into our capstone project, building a composable contract system. So if you've been following along with us, you know we've spent, well, a lot of time looking at individual, isolated smart contracts. But today's the day we learn how to organize those individual pieces into a perfectly synchronized, highly complex mechanical orchestra. We're going to take the raw mechanics of Web3 and literally learn how to make them sing together in perfect harmony.
All right, to set the stage here, let's look back for just a second. In our previous lesson, Scoping and Planning a Full Audit, we essentially spent all of our time in the practice room. We took our individual instruments, our isolated contracts, and we checked them for cracks. We tuned every single string. We ran stress tests, used mocks, the whole shebang. Really just making sure each component worked flawlessly on its own. But here's the thing. Having beautifully tuned instruments, it doesn't matter at all if everyone plays a totally different song at the exact same time. So today is all about building the conductor's blueprint. We need a solid system architecture plan so that when we deploy these contracts, we get this beautiful symphony of logic, rather than, well, a chaotic and very expensive cacophony.
So here are our literal program notes for the show today. We're going to start by tuning the mechanical orchestra, then we'll look at the layers of the system, writing the sheet music, rehearsing the contract flow, and finally putting together the final blueprint. It's going to be a great one.
Okay, let's dive right into this. First up, tuning the mechanical orchestra and setting up the conductor's stand.
Now, you might be wondering, what exactly are we building? Well, to architect composable systems effectively, we have to define them strictly as contract modules that are designed to interoperate via well-defined interfaces. Think of them like mechanical gears in a massive clockwork engine. I mean, if the teeth on gear A don't perfectly align with the grooves on gear B, what happens? The entire machine jams up, right? In Web3, our interfaces, our ABIs, our event structures, our error codes, those are our gear teeth. Our architecture blueprint is essentially the precise engineering schematic that guarantees every single gear clicks perfectly into place during a full system integration.
Moving right along to our different layers of the system, let's actually meet the instruments we'll be playing with.
So when we look at separating concerns, and imagine these as architectural layers built on top of each other, at the absolute foundation, we have the state owners. Think of these guys as the heavy cellos and double basses. They persist the canonical state, like token ledgers or user balances. Because they hold the actual foundational data, upgrading them is highly stressful. High risk. You really want to leave them alone as much as possible. Above them, we have the logic modules. These are your fast-moving violins. They're calculating rewards, enforcing business rules, that sort of thing. They don't actually store the core data, which means replacing them is, thankfully, much less stressful. Then we have our adapters and registries. These act kind of like translators between different systems. And finally, at the very top of it all, we have the orchestrator. This is our conductor, coordinating those multi-contract flows and making sure the whole user experience is totally smooth.
Now, understanding these different roles naturally introduces this absolutely crucial concept, upgradeability boundaries. Because state owners are so critical, they're tightly protected behind proxy patterns, right? Because moving their storage layout is, frankly, incredibly dangerous. Logic tiers, on the flip side, can be swapped out relatively easily, as long as your tests prove they still work, of course. When we're guiding students through these workflows in Forge College programs, this is exactly the moment the light bulb goes on. Defining these strict boundaries is literally the only way to prevent some unaudited jazz improv from a rogue smart contract from completely breaking your entire deployed system.
All right, let's get into the practical side of things, writing the sheet music and building our actual blueprint. To do this, we follow a very rigorous 6-step process. Step 1, you inventory your verified artifacts, basically asking what ABIs actually passed your integration tests. Step 2, you define the boundaries, who owns the state and who's just doing the math. Step 3, you specify the exact integration contracts right down to the function selector. Step 4, you map those transaction flows and figure out exactly where your gas bottlenecks might be. Step 5 is defining observability hooks. This means deciding exactly what events need to fire so you can actually monitor the system. And finally, Step 6 is producing the deliverable document itself. This highly structured process ensures you aren't just guessing out there. You're building a map based entirely on proven, tested realities.
So, the absolutely crucial point I want you to take away here is this. Treat interface contracts and event shapes as first-class artifacts. Seriously, When you're architecting a composable system, the specific shape of the data being passed between contracts is just as important as the logic inside the contracts themselves. Your application binary interfaces, your ABIs, and the exact semantics of your custom errors, that is your true integration glue. If an event emits 3 variables, but the listening contract is expecting 4, well, your symphony grinds to a complete halt. You have to treat these interfaces with the utmost respect.
Okay, let's step onto the stage now and look at rehearsing the contract flow during a live performance. Let's trace a standard happy path sequence to see how all this actually looks in action. First up, a user makes a deposit into our state-owning composable pool. Second, the pool successfully updates the ledger and emits a deposit recorded event. Third, our orchestrator catches this and triggers our logic module to calculate a reward, which might actually involve calling a stateless Oracle adapter to check the current market price. And finally, the orchestrator tells the reward distributor to hand out the tokens. It's this beautiful synchronized flow where the orchestrator effortlessly conducts the user's action across 4 specific contracts, all without mixing up who's responsible for what.
But what happens when someone misses a cue? I mean, what if the Oracle adapter just goes down? In a live orchestra, if you've got some rogue tuba player who suddenly goes out of sync and starts playing double time, the conductor has to manage that without stopping the whole show, right? Well, in smart contracts, this is all about error handling and atomicity. Your orchestrator must be designed to handle partial failures. If the reward calculation fails, you need a safe fallback, or the orchestrator must revert the entire transaction cleanly, so the user's initial deposit isn't left sitting there in some corrupted state. You always have to plan for the worst-case scenario.
Which brings us to tying the room together with our final blueprint.
In this final master score, every single critical action has to adhere to what we call the traceability triad. 1. The contract event. This is the actual thing that happens on the blockchain. 2. The test file. This is the specific code that proves this event fires correctly under stress. And 3. The monitoring hook. That's the off-chain script that watches for this event once it's actually deployed to a live network. Listen, if any function in your blueprint is missing even one of these 3 legs, it is simply not production ready. Connecting every behavior to a test and a monitor, that is exactly what makes your architectural map completely bulletproof.
So, I'll leave you with this final question. Is your mechanical orchestra ready for the live stage? Have you defined your state owners, locked down your interfaces, and mapped your triad of traceability? If you have, you are perfectly positioned for our next lesson, Designing Integration Plans for Composable Contracts, where we're going to take this blueprint and execute it in staging environments. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. To dive deeper into these blueprints and continue mastering Web3 architecture, please go check out the website at forge.college. Keep building, keep testing, and I'll see you in the next one.